What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 22 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Now, as always, are you okay?
Yeah, I just shaved off the handlebar mustache, and I feel like there's little pieces in my mouth.
Little,
you know what I mean?
some
So
fuzzy fuzzies?
Yeah. And I definitely have one long hair there.
Whatever, I hate when that happens. It's just going to annoy you, and you can keep licking your lips, and your lips are going to get really dry, then you need chapstick. It's the whole thing. You're flying to Atlanta tomorrow. We're going to MomoCon.
I gotta bring chapstick. On airports and airplanes is when my lips get the worst, and I always, for some reason, forget it, because I gotta take it out of my pocket when I go through security or whatever, because the new backscatter machines and shit.
The what?
Backscatter machines.
Backscatter.
Yeah, that's what they're doing when you do this. Backscatter technology is what it's called.
Wow. I did not know that. Yeah. I always just keep the chapstick in my backpack just at all times.
Chapstick.
Just so I just have it. What's the difference between chapstick and... Actually, no.
Blistex?
Lip balm. That's what I
think
was
it's the same thing, isn't it?
It's
Same
like
principle.
Band-Aid. Chapstick is a brand name. Band-Aid is a brand name. Band-Aid is a Band-Aid. Yeah, exactly. Adhesive bandages and then lip balms.
I'm Tim Gettys. I'm joined with the coolest dudes in video games, Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller. Now, I'm really excited about that name because I think it's going to stick.
Greg Miller?
Yeah,
it's
Greg
gonna
Miller.
stick.
And then the coolest dudes thing.
Oh, sure.
Because I've seen
you're talking about lip balm.
No, lip balm. I don't know if they're gonna make it. That one, it's on its way out. But the coolest dudes in video games.
Yeah, that's
you're
good.
just gonna continue getting cooler.
Oh wow!
I think that's
I'm
how
getting
it's
older. So
I was gonna say that's what they always say. The old people are the coolest ones in the room.
But I'm just hoping
As
that
we
one
continue
day,
to shit on MOBAs and everything else that's popular in the moment.
one day I hope that there's some box that just has a box quote, like some video game, and it just says "coolest dudes in video
We
games."
got the other. I can't tell you about it on the air for sure. We got approached for the first ever. Hey, we want to use one of your quotes from Kind of Funny in a video game ad campaign. I was like, oh, we made it.
Wow,
That's
we really
fantastic.
did. That's actually a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. I hope it was something Nick said.
Yeah, right. I don't know what this game is. Nick Scarpino.
So Nick was supposed to be here for this episode. As you can see, there's a cup there. That's your cup. That's my cup. For a second.
Am I drinking Nick's
but
water?
it's symbolic.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's very symbolic of the amount that he needs
Dinklebach
to
can sit in
pee.
for him.
Actually, first off, the rigmarole of this whole show, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, this is the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Every week we talk about video games for about an hour, sometimes a little more than an hour. And then we break it up topic by topic over the week at youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Friday, you can get the full episode. You can get it the previous Friday early on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. And it's really cool. You should do that because this one is worth $1.
Is it?
I don't think I've ever said that for Gamescast.
That it's worth $1? Because it's never
Because
been
it's
worth
never
$1.
been worth $1.
No, I guess you're right.
I won't lie. I thought last week was a fucking stellar.
it was
episode.
good.
We've been on the swing. We're getting in the groove that I'm always talking about. The groove is in the heart.
So the topics I chose today were geared around having Nick in the conversation, but we can obviously have this conversation without him, as we do many times about many different
We've talked about games once or twice without Nick.
Yes, exactly. So the first topic right now, we've done this a couple times. I want it to be a reoccurring topic.
Oh.
We've done it 2 or 3 times already.
Okay, you're
That's
holding up
just-
3 fingers, so I imagine it's 3.
What are you playing right now?
Oh, The Witcher.
And every time we do this, people really like it.
Hey, fans,
And
it's
then
me,
they
Greg.
respond. They let us know what they're playing.
I've been playing The Witcher.
Okay, so Witcher. You've been playing a lot of Witcher?
Yeah.
You've been streaming a lot of Witcher.
I've been streaming a lot of Witcher.
You've been
over
having
on
a lot of sex in The Witcher.
twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames.
Can't just play a game.
No, that's not true.
You've been having sex in The
I've
Witcher.
had sex with 2 lovely ladies. I think I've in the way the story evolved with one I don't want to spoil for you or you. I've pretty much, I believe, sworn my allegiance to one in terms of my love. I told her I
going
love
steady.
her and stuff. Exactly. And
But
so
those are
now,
just words.
Exactly. But this is the whole thing. How much do you know about the relationships in this game? Anything?
I've had one encounter.
I live with the fucking Witcher encyclopedia, so I'm well briefed on the fact that there's this like love triangle.
Grandma. You're talking about Grandma Georgina.
Grandma Georgina in there, sleeping in the bed, playing her Witcher, all this stuff. I know all about that there's a choice between these 2 ladies that are your real love interests. I've already seemingly chosen one because I said that I love her and all that stuff, but it wasn't like the game didn't make a big deal about it. But I do really care for this girl more than the other girl, and the other girl I think's kind of a bitch. But here's the fun thing about living with the encyclopedia is that last night I came to bed and I was all yawn, putting on my nightcap and stuff, and Christine's like, "Oh, I just banged the other one." I'm like, "Oh, cool, that's awesome. Was it a hot sex scene?" She's like, "Let me show you," and she reloaded the save and played through that sex scene. So I got the best of both worlds. going
Imagine if in real life you could replay sex scenes.
I do it every night.
I
up
would
in
never
here.
leave my house.
Yeah, oh man, that'd be just good.
That'd be awesome.
That's the
real
real
good.
power of Morpheus.
Reliving Greg Miller's botched sex life.
We're working on the app right now, so you too can feel the shame of just like I don't know why it's not working.
Have you been playing a lot of The Witcher?
Yeah, I played a lot of The Witcher. I've played, I'd say, as much as Greg, but I'm playing in a different way, so I've not gone as far as he has because I'm just way more meticulous and OCD about it. So the maps in the game are filled with question marks, like sometimes like 150 of them at the time, and they're basically just like little things that you can go find, but I'm just doing all of that. Like I am leveled twice as high as I should be to where I am in the game.
Your quests are level 6, right? You
yeah,
say
like
you're
my
level
main
12.
quest is like, you should be level 6 when you do this, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm level 12 right now.
No, I'm good.
And I'm just running around like fighting and doing things. It's a very immersive game. I mean, we're going to Atlanta for 5 days, and we have a lot of downtime while we're there. And I'm bringing my PS4 so I can play that and just kind of get through more, because I don't like. Now is the time. Like, Batman's coming right around E3, and like now is the time where it's time to strike. But it's a really special game. I've said it before, and people are mad at me. I like Dying Light more. I think Dying Light's a better game. It's more fun to play, I think, which is important to me. Gameplay is important. And they're very similar in the sense that they're both open world quest-based games with lots of just random ass shit out there. That said, I think The Witcher's world is beautifully realized. I think the lore is pretty interesting. The characters are interesting. I've talked about it before, but the lighting effects are like astounding in The Witcher. I don't know how they did it. Some people were giving me shit when I said this game was prettier or not as pretty as The Last of Us. And they're like, yeah, and some people I'm like, this game is not nearly as good looking as The Last of Us, of course, but it's an open world game. They have to make some decisions to make the game run better by getting rid of some of these beautiful textures and all these kinds of things. But I think there's something about the world that's very realistic and very lived in that makes me want to keep going back to it. The way the weather interacts with the world, the trees swaying in the wind, the lived in nature of the towns and the villages, the kind of the dirty nature of like the way people look and the ragged nature. I don't know. There's just something cool about the world in this game. That
you make changes that influence the world, which are cool, in both on purpose and not on purpose. Where I've done side quests where then it'll pop back up that I should check in on those people, and I go back and this is evolved, something's changed here. I talk to you. There's been side quests I complete and I don't get go check in on them, but I ride past that house and things have changed, and I hop out and I'm like, oh, you took my advice and did that. That's really cool, and they're not beating me over the head with it. And the opposite thing is I've done what you're doing, where I spent an afternoon running around exploring, right, and doing all these different things. Ran into this weird ass talking tree or whatever, right? I'm like, well, you have to fucking die, kill it, and then later on in the story, I get, and they're like, you have to make a choice between this and that. I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have killed that tree. You know what I mean? Like, crap.
There's something special too about the organic nature of the way quests pop up and stuff like that. You find just letters or notes or books like stowed away somewhere, and it just opens a quest. I ran into a guy in a road. And it was raining at night, and I just rode by him, and a quest thing popped up. I didn't even talk to him, and then I just rode past him, and I failed the quest. Because I didn't talk to him right at that point. I'm like, that sucks, but I mean, that's just the nature of the game I'm playing. Because I've only failed 3 quests so far, and I've probably completed scores of them at this point. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of Witcher 3, and I still need to get back to the Old Blood too, because there's something fundamentally awesome about machine games and the way they do their shooters. It's the Wolfenstein DLC. It's just nice to go back and play more of that game. I platinumed Wolfenstein: The New Order, and I want to do the same with the Old Blood. And there's a lot in the game. The coolest thing about the game is, and this is spoilery, so I'm going to give you a second in case you care about the story. The game is a prequel to The New Order, but a sequel in some ways to the original Wolfenstein 3D that came out in 91, 92. And during BJ Blazkowicz is the main character, and he finds in each mission, if you search hard enough, a sleeping bag or a little nook where he sleeps, like where he can rest. And every time you sleep, he has nightmares of the first time he was in Castle Wolfenstein, and the nightmares are the original game. And you play the original
with
game
the blocky graphics.
Yeah, like so. Like,
that's cool.
So like he's like having a nightmare of a stage or a place he was in the original Castle Wolfenstein, and it goes back there, and it's the original game, and you play it.
That's fucking awesome.
And then he wakes up or whatever, and I'm like, this is so. I've said it before, like one of the most clever throwbacks to a previous game in a series that I have ever seen, and I think that's fucking dynamite. Like they're just very thoughtful. A lot of people aren't making single player shooters like this anymore, and they're doing it really well. So I want to support them, and I want to play the rest of this game, do some of the challenge missions and stuff like that, and then sit eagerly to see what they're going to do next, which I assume is more Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
So Nick's been playing a lot of the Metal Gear Ground Zeroes.
Yeah,
and
he's terrible at it. Awful.
But he keeps talking about it, and it's like I like seeing him getting into that. Another thing he was just saying, he told us today that he beat Shovel Knight.
Right.
So that's really exciting because now that I have my PlayStation Vita, similar to my girlfriend.
The Vita is similar to your girlfriend.
Yeah, it deserves the hand motion.
Okay. I like that. I respect that.
I've been playing Shovel Knight. My God, how the hell did I not play this game earlier? I am just completely infatuated with it and in love with it.
There's just so much else in that vast 3DS library.
Well, I mean, including Shovel Knight, though.
Well, I know that's what I'm saying. You couldn't get to it because there's so many other great games in the way.
Oh, you're right.
Like Bejeweled.
No, but Shovel Knight,
Sudoku.
I always knew it was one of those games that as soon as I first saw the first trailer, I was like, there's something about this game. I was a little trepidatious about it though. I was like, I don't know if I'm actually going to play it. It's just I'm happy it's happening, but whatever. Then once you got your hands on it at IGN, and when you reviewed it and stuff, I was like, damn, like that really does look like a cool game that I'd want to play. But then I was like, I don't want to. I was going to get on Wii U, and I was like, I feel like that's right. Like it'd play right. 3DS, I was like, I know I'm not going to like it.
It was most at home
and
on
all
Wii
that
U,
stuff.
I think, yeah.
But it's just like, system wise, I was like, okay, the Wii U is probably it. But I was like, I'm not going to dedicate my time to that. Just, I'm not going to. And I was like, I'm going to wait. And I was like, that, if I ever get a Vita, I'm going to want that. Then eventually was announced for it. Now I have my Vita, and I'm just like, all right, cool. This will be the game. And man, worth the wait.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I'm happy I waited. I'm happy I'm playing it now. And it is such a good, especially on my beautiful OLED screen. The colors and stuff, man, they just pop. And it's just
it's
like,
a beautiful game.
It's great. It's like really, really great. And I told myself that I was like, all right, we're flying to Atlanta. And that's going to be the game that I play. And I was like, I want to get into it just to like see if I like it because I want to make sure I'm making the right call. I don't want to dedicate a freaking 6-hour flight to something I'm
you're not gonna
not
like.
into.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll play like a little bit of the opening level. Yeah, right. Like I'm like 3-4 levels in, and it's just like I couldn't stop. I just kept doing it. I keep thinking about it. I keep thinking about all like. I love how many like references and just homages there are to just old school games and all this stuff. And it's like even certain things that I don't really like the pogo stick thing. I don't like the controls of it, like having to jump and then hit down. Not really how I imagine platformers to play and stuff. This game is making me like change my mind on that. Like it works. Like everything about this game feels like it was designed correctly and with a purpose. And you do see a lot of the thought that a lot of these classics games put into each room and like how it teaches you something or like introduces a mechanic and then the next room will have you use it and then the next room really makes you kind of like think about it in a different way. And it's like, it's fucking awesome. And I'm really enjoying it and I'm like excited to see where things are going because a lot of the trailers and a lot of the videos I've seen previously, like I didn't realize there was so much variety in the level types and stuff. Like right now I'm playing a stage where it's like a chemist thing. There's a lot of like chemistry shit going on. It's like I don't know how to explain it. How would you describe
A laboratory?
Yeah, it's like a lab. It's the third level in the game. The third boss level.
Lab is I don't know. It's like a scary lab.
Yeah, it's like an alchemist's lab or
lab.
something. Like that's what night is that? I can't think of it. It's not Spectre Night. Plague Night. And that's the beauty of. And I was saying this because I feel like a lot of people thought. When I had revealed this game at IGN, we had an exclusive on it or whatever, and then I was like really into it. And then I feel like people played it at PAX and stuff, but like I feel like a lot of people just weren't listening to me. Like, because I think a lot of people think like, well, Colin has like significant sensibilities towards these kinds of games, and you have to kind of temper his opinions on them based on your excitement about old 8-bit side-scrolling games like that. Because I fucking love Ninja Gaiden, and I love Castlevania, and I love Mega Man, and all these games, and people just weren't fucking listening. You know what I mean? And I was like, this game is awesome. And slowly but surely, when it came out to Wii U and 3DS, I think it was right at home on Wii U. I think it was great on Wii U. And it was on PC. It started to resonate with people. When now that it's on PlayStation, I get texts. I just saw the Yako guys a couple weeks ago, and they were like, thanks for your support. Because like we're getting, they're getting tweets left and right for people being like, Colin recommended this game. And I'm like, yo, you're not, this is a masterclass in gameplay. This game is astonishingly good. And what I kept saying about it was it borrows elements from great games and great elements from great games. There's a lot of Zelda 2 in this game. There's a lot of Ninja Gaiden and Castlevania in the game. Like the world map is Mario 3. The town structure is Zelda 2. The pogo stick thing is DuckTales and Zelda 2. The sub-weapon thing is Ninja Gaiden and Castlevania. The boss designs are Mega Man. Like everything about it is fucking awesome.
It's the best parts of the games too, without the bad parts. Like it's the good parts of Zelda 2, not the parts you didn't like. You know what I mean? And like that's why I'm like, holy shit! It's like it's so fresh. Things just keep happening. Like all of a sudden, like I got some item, and it's like, oh, go to the town. It's like, well, there's the Zelda 2 town. This is awesome. And then it's like, oh, bring this to the fish in the swamp or whatever. And I'm like, what the hell? And you go, and it's like a level.
Triple.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck's happening right now?
He's a dope guy.
But it's cool because I thought it was just gonna be a platformer. Like I thought it was totally just going to be a Mario style level by level thing. It's like not, man. There's like so much more there.
There's a mild non-linearity to it, so like certain you can play 2 or 3 stages at a time, just like Mario 3. It's funny because like I've really mastered that game, and watching other people play it, it's fun to watch people play it and the kind of experience. I've beaten that game 20 plus times, maybe. Like so, I beat the game organically in like an hour and 20 minutes to get that, to get my trophy. Like there's a way to cheat to beat the game quickly by like resetting your game and stuff like that. But I actually just did an organic playthrough of it and beat it in like an hour and 20 minutes. And I'm like, when I first picked the game up, it would take me hours and hours to get through the game because I don't think the thing about Shovel Knight that I'm a little disappointed in is it's not that hard.
Well,
and that's like some people think it's like the hardest thing in the world. Like this game is not that hard.
It's challenging. It's not hard, and I think that's what I like so much about it. Is it's like I feel like. And you'll probably disagree with me about this, but like going back and playing the Mega Man games, having not played them before, to me they're just difficult. Like it's I don't want to have to wrap my head around having to use slowdown and stuff to my advantage as part of the actual gameplay. And I feel like this game doesn't do that. This game, the hardest parts so far at least, have been the boss fights, and it's like they're challenging, but it's like. Yeah, you're gonna die a couple times, but then you learn the patterns and stuff, and it's like it definitely brings me back. Like not only does it look like those old games, it reminds me of being a little kid facing off against easy bosses, but not understanding how to beat it, and then eventually clicking and being like, okay, I need to jump now. I can't do this, and it's like it's really fun.
That's a style of gameplay that isn't around anymore, and that's why it's hard. And you both can throw back and harken back to the fact you've played those games before. Whereas somebody who's coming up right now who didn't, their first system was a PlayStation 1, a PlayStation 2. That's a foreign language to them, and that's where when people are like, "This is so hard," it's that they don't know how to speak that language.
That's a really good point, and I think to me something that I'm really latching onto here is they put so much thought into that. They put thought into there's going to be people that don't necessarily have the ability to do this or the drive to want to do this, to take enjoyment from this. To them, it's not going to be fun. And that's why I think the checkpoint system, I've never seen a system like this in any other game, and it's fucking brilliant, where there's these little crystal ball things, and there's like 5 per level. And if you break one open, then you get a gem and you get a bunch of money. Yeah. If you don't break it open, you just walk past it, it's a checkpoint. Yeah. So it's kind of up to you whether you want to get the reward or keep going. And if you're like, okay, this is the first one, I'll break it, get the money. But the second one, I know there's a challenge coming up, so I'll not do it. But then I'll break the third one. It's like it becomes this meta game of itself where you're thinking about like, do I want the reward now or do I want to just press my luck or whatever? And it's like it's really cool to me because I didn't get it for a second. I was like, there was a level where I just want to hit everything and get all the fucking gems and shit. So it's like when I broke it and saw the gem, I was like, cool. I guess I'm just going to keep doing this, not realizing those are checkpoints because they don't really explain it.
No, they show it to you. They graphically show it to you, like when you die, like and you see the X's over the checkpoints. So that's when you realize.
The thing is, then I kept fucking dying at like the end of a level. I'm like, God damn, I'm playing this level over and over, and that was the point where I'm like, this reminds me of the old school games I didn't like because I don't want to have to do all the challenges I already did. Like I know I can do this. Let me just do the part I can't do. And I just kept seeing the X's. I'm like, how come the last level I was doing there was checkpoints? What the fuck am I doing wrong? So then I tried again, and I realized, oh shit, if I run past it, it lights up. I'm like. That's good fucking game design.
Well done.
Yeah, it was when I played New Game Plus, it was when the game really got much more difficult because the game, you can play a game like this with your own rules. It's like playing Mega Man and not using any special weapons. Like you can make the game harder, and people do that. It's called arm cannon dueling. But like there's always health before each boss. There's always. Like there's ways to spike the game to make it much easier. You can just save money and buy your health and have like stacked health bar and stuff like that.
Because you can go back to levels, right?
Yeah, you can go back to levels.
So if you know a level really well, break every checkpoint, beat it, break every
Yeah, exactly. And so there's ways to just farm money and stuff like that. And that's what I think that makes the game easier. And that's why I was a little disappointed. That was like my one disappointing thing with it when I first played it and I beat it. And I was like, this game is a lot of fun, but like this isn't hard. And it is a relative thing, like based on what you're experiencing. But I expected something that was a little more hardcore. I think that New Game Plus for those people with those kind of sensibilities is more that there's one checkpoint per stage and there's no health anywhere. Like anytime there's a health, like in the regular game, there's a bomb there when you play in a New Game Plus.
Oh, really?
So you can never hear this stuff. And it reminded me more, I just did a long playthrough, a Let's Play of Castlevania 3, which depending on when we post it may or may not be up by the time you see this. And I played the game for, I don't know, like 45 minutes or whatever. And it was reminding me of like, you were talking about going through a stage and then dying and having to go back. Part of the reason that was so alluring to me as a kid was, it wasn't about just getting through the stage. It was about getting through the stage with enough health to beat the boss. Mm-hmm. Like if you stumbled with no lives to a boss late in Castlevania 3 with 1 health bar left, you're fucked. Mm-hmm. It's over. You might as well just kill yourself and go back to the beginning. It was about that feeling of getting to the boss and being like, I can actually do this.
Yeah.
And then you die, and then you do it again, and you're like, all right, I really can do this now. I like that kind of challenge.
Well, there's also, in addition to the challenge, there's something to be said about if you're going to have to replay a level over and over and over, that level needs to be fun. that means each section, I keep saying room, but like each screen needs to have fresh ideas and something that's going to keep you engaged. And when you have to replay it over and over, it really forces you to kind of look for the secrets and think about different ways to go about it. And it's like, it makes you think about the game instead of just rushing through it. And like, I feel like a lot of the modern Mario 2D games, it is just kind of like, I know how to play Mario, so I'm just going to run and jump and jump and jump and jump, and I beat the game. And it's like, that's why you don't remember it. But it's like, so if you were to ask me, what's your favorite level in any of the new Super Mario Bros. Games, I'd have no answer for you. Like, I have no fucking idea. If you ask me Mario 1, Mario 2, Mario 3, Mario World, any of those, I'd be like, oh, I have a bunch of answers. Because back then, they were designed more around this idea of learning the secrets and like finding all this stuff. And Shovel Knight's doing that for me, for sure, where it's like I'm getting intimately familiar with the levels, and it's awesome.
The exciting thing about what Yacht Club did with Shovel Knight is this is their first game. And they have experience. A lot of those guys come from Way Forward. Way Forward, of course, is a very well-respected studio with retro gamers like me because they make great retro games. But this is their first game. This is their Mega Man 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're inevitably going to make another Shovel Knight game, right? And that's going to be their Shovel Knight 2, their Mega Man 2.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, like, to me, the original Mega Man's a great game. It's also by far the worst of all the classic Mega Man games. By far. Like, not even close. The worst one. And I'm excited for them to go back to this and be like, this is... Now we have time. Now we have money and means. We don't have to rush. There's no rush. We have our engine. We have all these kinds of things. And this is the game we really want to make. And I Shovel Knight 2, whenever that comes out, if it comes out, oh my God. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the fucking game right there. And one of the things I talked to those guys a lot, and I was just like, one of the cool things I hope they do is a Robot Master style creation contest, because for Mega Man 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or I guess through 8, 9, and 10, they didn't do this. All of those robots were designed by players. None of them were designed by Inafune in this team. Any of them. They just redrew them to make them look like his style. But those are all created by people.
That's awesome.
So at the end of a Mega Man game, it'll have like each boss in the name, and it's a Japanese name typically, except for 2 of them were made by Westerners in Mega Man 6. And I always thought, I was like, oh, it's the designer or whatever. No, it's a fucking kid, an 18-year-old, a 16-year-old kid, a 20-year-old guy in Japan who made that.
Yeah.
And I was like, you should do that for Shovel Knight 2.
That's
and
awesome.
I think that maybe they'll consider doing that.
Retweet at Yacht Club Games. Let them know.
I think that would be so cool. Is like, let people design the 8 new knights.
Yeah.
Just like they designed Quick Man and Heat Man and Bubble Man and all those characters in Mega Man 2.
Dude, the knights are so awesome though. Like, they're really cool and impressive. And the animation on them, like, holy shit, Spectre Tonight spinning around the fucking scythe and shit. I'm like, damn. Like, it's those moments that I'm like, this is not an 8-bit game. You know what I mean? Like, this 8-bit games didn't have animation like that. And that's where I think Shovel Knight succeeds the most is it has the feel of the old games and it has all the good parts, but it is a modern game completely. And that's awesome.
Its modernity, I think, is most seen in its lack of difficulty. And that was but yeah, there are tips and tricks. Like apparently the game's audio, for instance, would work on an NES. So there are certain things like the game wouldn't run on an NES, but the audio, for instance, was programmed through the same chipset that NES games were made. So like there's a lot of orthodoxy with the way they made the game, which I think is pretty cool. And I think that they have just an insane amount of talent. Like I know them and I'm proud of them and what they've accomplished with this game. They speak to people like me and like you. And I think that they were astounded by their success, and they're just going to keep having success. Shovel Knight is fucking awesome. It was the best game of last year. That's why everyone always busts my balls like, you hate Wii U. Like, a Wii U game was my game of the year last year. So, like, I loved Shovel Knight. And I think it's right at home on Vita and PS4. I recommend people play it. It's on Xbox One as well. And we'll see. That's all I'm saying is that that's what's exciting about this game is actually what they're going to be able to do next. And I hope that they don't do something else. I hope that they continue with Shovel Knight in that universe. And yeah, I love King Knight, and my favorite's Tinker Knight, who I don't think you've fought yet. Tinker Knight is awesome. He's a little tiny knight. And there's actually a great scene at the end that I can't wait for you to see too. Like with all of them.
Oh, I'm excited.
And I won't spoil it for you, but it should be a poster. Like you'll know exactly the picture. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you see it. You'll probably see it on
I'm fucking excited, man.
Yeah.
This is great.